Hi everybody! So today I'm here for a Foster Friday and I wanted to talk to you today about visits. There are kids that are free for adoption, which means that they've either been in foster care long enough that the parental rights have been terminated, or they are legally an orphan by other means, or their parents have lost enough kids and there's no chance of them going back to their family. Those children are up for adoption and are still just in the foster care system. Those kids would still have to be in a foster home for 6 months before being adopted, but there's no chance of them going back to any family. Then there are kids that are just in foster care and are not free for adoption at that point, which is what we had with the girls. And they still have to go through court hearings for termination of parental services, termination of parental rights, because originally in foster care, and I'll talk about this in another video, the point of foster care is to get them into a good home, but it's also to give the parents a chance to really turn themselves around so that the children can go back and be reunited with their family. That is the ultimate goal. So in the beginning, there's a lot that's geared toward the parents as opposed to geared toward the child. Having said that, visits are something that are fairly normal for most kids in foster care, which can be great, but it can also be very detrimental. A visit can be anywhere between a phone call every now and then to a visit every now and then to daily visits. So we were pretty lucky. We only had one visit a month, but we also had one phone call every week. The problem with our visits was visits are very upsetting. A lot of the time when a child is visited or talks to somebody from their past, all they remember is the bad things. They don't remember all the good things. They don't remember that they're family. They just remember all of the terrible things that have happened to them or around them with those people involved. So a lot of the times the kids will get into a good routine and then you go and take them to a visit and they're right back where you started. For us, visits were pretty terrible. In the beginning, I didn't tell them where we were going, and at the advice of the former foster parents. And as soon as we got to the building where the visit was going to happen, they would start kicking and screaming, and it was really hard for me to get them into the building. So then, as visits went on, I started telling them where we were going, and they got their tantrum out while we were in the car on the way to where the visit was. And it got better by the time they were there, but they didn't want me to leave them. They would scream and cry. There was one point where I had to carry Veggie into the visit, but I'm not allowed to be back in the visit, so I had to put her on the ground and leave. That was a really terrible experience. Towards the end, it got a little bit better, but they still did not want to go. And then for the next week or so, it would just be, I would have these two sweet kids who were getting kind of back to normal, and then we'd have to go to a visit, and then I would have two holy terrors. It's like I took my kids to see this person, and I got somebody else's kids back. So visits were very frustrating on that point. Unfortunately, it was a court-ordered thing, so I had no choice. I could appeal to our caseworker and say, look, this is really disturbing to them. It's something that's really disrupting them and their progress. But all she could do was appeal to their social worker through the state and appeal to a judge. But most judges won't stop visits unless it's very, very unsafe until parental services are terminated. Even then, generally speaking, once parental services are terminated, they will still have visits until the parental rights are terminated. And I know I still have to go into more detail in a video about difference between parental services and parental rights. So I think that'll probably be next week. But once those parental rights are terminated, you set a date, they have their last visit, and that's it. So we really got kind of lucky. We didn't have to do anything after. Some judges really try and get the bio parents or the bio family some kind of agreement, but we didn't have to make any kind of agreement with the state that we would keep up, or at least try and keep up with the family. Now, for their sake, we do keep up with their bio family, We do not do any visits. We do not do any phone calls at this point because it is so detrimental to them. It sets them back so much. It's very disturbing to their process. But what I have done is I've set up a Facebook page that's private for some of their family to connect on. That way they can see some of the pictures of the girls as they grow. But the real point of it is not to keep them updated, because truth be told, they're my kids' family, and that makes them important to me because in the future it will be important to them. But the only reason I am keeping this page up is really not for the family. It's for the girls, because at some point they're going to want to know these people. They're going to want to see who they are and what they do and how they talk and the things they eat and all those kinds of things. They're going to have all these questions that I don't know the answers to. But now I don't have to keep up in contact with phone calls or anything else to these people in order to know where they are and keep contact with them. All I have to do is keep this Facebook page up, which makes it so much easier. I've had a lot of people tell me, not to bother, and anytime I get frustrated with something somebody says or something somebody does, everybody's answer is to just shut it down. But I'm a big believer in at least trying to have an open adoption. And open adoption doesn't mean that, every weekend you're going and having picnics together and all that. Open adoption just means as little as a phone call every now and then, or as little as sending pictures every now and again. But it's keeping in contact in some form with the bio family so that when the girls are ready, they're able to get those questions answered. They're able to talk to those people and see where they came from, and whatever questions they have can get answered. So that's something that's very important to us, and so that's how we're taking care of it at this point, is a Facebook page, which has been pretty good. I do get frustrated with it sometimes, but I kind of expected that. But otherwise, that's kind of it about visits. Generally speaking, like I said, most kids will have mandated visits. They generally take place in a social services office or with or just a supervisor of some kind. Generally speaking, will be there at the visit. They take notes and record things that are said or done, the reaction the kids have, so that it can help build up cases either one way or the other. It can be as little as once a month, or it can be as much as every day. Phone calls can be a part of that. If you have any questions about visitation or how we handled it, please feel free to let me know. And if you have any questions about contact that we have now and how we're proceeding and moving forward, more detail about that, please feel free to let me know and I can make a video about that. I hope you guys are going to have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.